Intrăm acum cu invitatul nostru, Heineken, de la compania Heineken. Aș vrea să vă spun câteva cuvinte despre el înainte ca el să-și înceapă prezentarea. Heineken coordonează întreaga activitate din canalul de comerț modern al companiei Heineken, un canal foarte important de distribuție pentru această companie. Echipa lui acoperă areile de Key Account Management, categorii Shopper Marketing și vânzări pe teren. Aș vrea să știți că întreaga sa carieră este legată de compania Heineken și că înainte de a coordona activitatea din România a ocupat roluri diverse în businessul Heineken, precum coordonarea activităților din Modern Trade, Horeca sau strategii. Aș vrea să știți despre el că și-a început cariera în cadrul echipei globale Heineken în zonele financiar și managementul proiectelor internaționale. Ce mi s-a părut mie foarte interesant este că a petrecut un an în Mexic, unde s-a ocupat de un amplu proiect transformațional în organizația Heineken. De asemenea, a avut o serie de roluri de management comercial în cadrul subsidiarii de băuturi răcoritoare a companiei Heineken și vorbim aici despre Vrumona, în Olanda, unde a avut o experiență valoroasă pentru că a învățat pe lângă bere și cidru și businessul de băuturi răcoritoare. În fine, aș vrea să știți despre Hesh că Modern Trade Director al Heineken România, că el consideră managementul de categorie ca fiind, rezumându-se la cunoașterea foarte bună a consumatorului și că managementul categoriei este influențat de fiecare transformare a comportamentului de consum. Aș vrea să știți că Heineken a pregătit pentru dumneavoastră niște vouchere. Puteți comanda prin Glovo Heineken Zero Alcool, în așa fel încât puteți chema acasă sau la birou sau oriunde vă aflați. Mulțumesc partenerilor noștri de la Heineken pentru acest cadou. Și acum, dear Hesh, are you ready to start your presentation?
I am.
Please do.
I am. Thank you, Daniela. I'm sorry to everybody because my Romanian is good enough to understand what Daniela is telling about me, but to do this presentation in Romania is one bridge too far for the moment. So bear with me, I'll do it in English. I agreed with Daniela to speak as slowly as I can. If there are any things unclear, please ask the questions in the chat box and we can tackle them later. So let me start. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me here. Of course, I would have loved to be here physically with you, but it looks like quite a good alternative to do it this way. First of all, I hope you and your families are healthy in these days. It's a top one priority for everybody, I think, including for all of us. Daniela did a quite elaborate introduction of myself. Let me at least introduce my name, because my name is very short and at the same time very complicated. You pronounce it Gijs. It's actually a name that's only existing in the Netherlands. And apparently my parents didn't have an international career in mind when they gave me this name. But here I am. I arrived in Romania about 1.5 years ago. And I must say it's amazing. Romania is a beautiful country. The market is very interesting. And I love to work with all the customers and also with my fantastic team. I hope some of you have your Heineken Zero at hand to enjoy during the presentation. And it's a pleasure to share with you some of my thoughts around category management. It's an area that's extremely important in our cooperation with our customers. So if I then move to my first slide. There we go. First, very short. I will be very short, I promise, about our company. Many people know, I think everybody probably know the Heineken brand. So we are a very big company worldwide. In Romania, we're not only selling Heineken, we are selling a large range of local and international brands that you see on the right side of this chart. We also have four breweries in Romania across the country, in Craiova, Constanța, Miercurea, and in Târgu Mureș. And our head office is in Bucharest. We have around 1,100 people working for us across all these locations. And of course, a lot of people in the field. So we have very large field sales force that is covering all the channels. I think this is it as an introduction for Heineken. You will know. So let me then move to the topic we have at hand today, which is category management. Well, this looks like an interesting slide, right? We are very lucky in Heineken that we have a highly skilled team in Amsterdam, in the headquarters, that have developed a framework that we use to do category management, and we call it winning with categories. What I'm going to do is I'm going to explore this framework with you alongside an example that I'm actually very passionate about, because also Daniela explained, I think in the beginning, I've worked in CSDs before, and the topic we're going to use today is 0-0 beer, so beer without alcohol. Now, on top of this slide, you see basically the 3 steps we take to define where we would like to play. And these 3 steps are assess, explore and quantify, and then select. So if we have then defined where we want to play, we will develop a plan how to win, because only to define where to play is not enough. We need to know how we are going to win. And to do that, we first define category strategy. This means we look always category first. So you see also category on the left, and then after that only brands. We will define the portfolio we want to use in this strategy, and then also mobilize the internal organization. And this last point is very important. I'm a very person-oriented person, and what we've seen also in 2020 when we launched Birra Moretti brand that I hope many of you have seen. One of the success factors, apart from all the other things around the brand and the plans with the customers, etc., was also the mobilization of our own organization. We did a big launch event. Our annual conference was totally around Italianity. So we had the pizza and we had Italian music and we had everything around the Birra Moretti brand. And in my opinion, you always need to start with selling something new to your own people, because if you're not able to sell something to your own people, how on earth are you going to be able to sell it to external people? And how on earth are these people, your own people, going to sell it to external people? So this is an integral part of everything we do. So after we've done the category strategy, we link it to the brand plans. Because in the end, the consumers are not buying a category, they're buying a brand. And here we normally play with many brands. We have a wide range of brands, as I've shown you before. In the 0-0 area, we have also multiple brands, and there we implement and we integrate all the plans we have for the overall 0-0 category. But the most important part, again, it's nice to have these plans, but we need to execute it. And that's always a cooperation between us and our customers. Because in the end, we don't own stores as Heineken, so we need to work with our customers to get these plans implemented into the stores. And then on the bottom, you see it's not the main part of the slide, but it says review, learn, and improve. This is another very important concept that we have, because we know that at the moment we are thinking about category strategy, make our brand plans, do an execution plan. When we are 3 months or 6 months or 1 year later, the reality around us has probably changed. And this has been so true in 2020. And I will give you another example on Birra Moretti here, where we had a launch plan to launch in March. And I'm sure you all remember that about a year ago, we all moved away from the offices, worked from home. This was the start of the pandemic, basically. One of the key things we had for Birra Moretti was vacations, holidays to Italy. And now we all know and remember that the COVID-19 virus started in Italy. And all our POS was all about vacations to Italy. And of course, this was not what we wanted to put in front of our consumers at that point in time. So we had to review the plan very fast and change it and improved it to something that was more generic and not so focused on holidays in Italy. And also everything we've been doing in the end of 2019 to plan for 2020, everything had to be changed and improved. So very important step here. Okay, so let me then start with the assess phase. As I said, we're going to talk about 0.0 beer. There are many things happening in the world, and I'm sure you're recognizing this. We see health and moderation trends. So people around the world, but also in Romania, are more and more focused on their health. And also this year, let's say 2020, this got into an accelerated mode because a lot of people were infected, got people around them infected, and everybody was looking after how I can be stronger and healthier. And here we talk lower alcohol consumption, but also low calorie, low sugar, and people are paying more attention to what they're actually consuming. And another thing that I'm always mentioning here, myself, I'm a gluten-free person. My body doesn't respond very well to gluten, including beer, which is kind of weird working for a beer company, but we also sell ciders and I can use and drink those products. But I see basically every month more and more space in the big shops dedicated to gluten-free stuff, to ecological stuff, to sugar-free stuff. So there is a very big trend going on, not only in Western Europe, but definitely also in Romania. Another thing here is that we see traditional category boundaries are blurring. And maybe a few examples here. At the past, you had chocolate bars and you had these very healthy protein bars. But what you see now is that these worlds are coming together. So that the healthy protein bars are getting more tasty, and the tasty traditional chocolate bars are getting these healthy ingredients. Another example is all the ready-to-eat products you will get in the stores, where in the past you bought all your own ingredients and make it at home, but now you can buy all these products ready to eat as well. And then the last part that you see on the right top, it's all about new occasions. Again, 2020 made it very clear that everything we knew before was not per se valid anymore in 2020. The whole concept about a house party, people organizing parties at home because the HoReCa has been closed for a lot of time, was something that we couldn't imagine, but it happened. Another thing is that people spend more time at home, so they also eat more at home. And what everybody used to do when you go to the office is have lunch in the office. Now people are having lunch at home, and the lunch occasion is also very relevant for our 0.0 beer consumption. Then to make sure what is actually needed for a category to perform, it requires very deep understanding of consumers and their shopping behaviors. And then we're asking ourselves a few questions here. First is where will the product be consumed? Is it at work, on the go? Is it at home? Is it in a bar, etc., etc.? There are many different places where people can consume a product. Also, why is someone consuming? Right? Is he or she hungry? Is she socializing? Are you watching some Champions League on TV this week? It's always different. But we need to understand. Then when is this taking place, this consumption? Is it in the morning? Is it late in the evening? Is it something that people start the day with, end the day with, want to get energized in the middle of the day? It's all very important to understand before we start defining our category strategy. And then about who is consuming, so our personas. Who is this consumer really? What are her attitudes? And also questions like gender, age, income, education level. It's very important. And last but not least is with whom is this consumer consuming? Alone consumptions requires very different proposition than consuming, for instance, with a group of friends. And you can probably imagine that also you as a consumer, you make different choices for products when you know you will consume it alone compared to consuming it with a group of friends. And this is also something I've learned here in Romanian culture, where people like to do a bit of show off, and that means that there is an impact on the decisions that people make if they are, in my example, drinking alone or drinking with a group of friends. And without the understanding of these questions, you will not be able to determine what you should do. And what we realized some time ago is that there are many consumers that are willing to drink a beer, but for various reasons don't want to drink alcohol. And this might be because they are, for instance, driving. They have religious reasons, which is not too valid here in Romania, but in the Islamic world, definitely it's valid. Or people are pregnant, or you're at work, and so on and so on. And that's why we started to explore the opportunities for zero beer. If we then start some exploration and quantification, we see this is a penetration slide. I will not go into a lot of details on this, but just to show that we take multiple angles on developing a strategy. And because we are a global company, we have access to quite some data from our colleagues in the other countries. And here we see that there is quite a lot of additional penetration opportunity for low and no alcoholic beer. Although it's already taken as well, but there are still opportunities to grow. One thing we also know very well from the other countries is that we need to drive trial to achieve this additional penetration. There are quite some barriers to overcome to win the hearts of the shoppers and the consumers. These barriers exist on several dimensions. So let me start with the taste barrier. And I'm pretty sure everybody of you has tasted at some point some alcohol-free beer. And especially in the beginning, they tasted very sweet. And I don't know if you know these colorful gumballs, these chewing gums, these round ones you get from these machines when you put, probably in your case, 1 RON coin there. They were very sweet, very sweet. And I'm happy to say that this is the past, ladies and gentlemen. All the beer producers, they have moved on, and to be honest, developed very good products. And I can challenge you that if you do a blind taste between, let's do a Heineken regular and a Heineken Zero, it's not easy. It's not easy at all to taste the difference. But still, I can convince you. But there are a lot of consumers to be convinced of this. Then there are also some mental barriers. So when can I drink a 0.0 beer? When is it acceptable? We want to educate customers a lot on drinking occasions, and this last barrier that is here on the slide is there is a bit of fear of social stigma of not drinking, and I've seen this also in Romania very valid, where the drinking of alcohol is very closely related to celebrations, special family moments, and I'm sure you will recognize this. So what we then try to do with the category is to normalize the drinking of non-alcoholic products and position it as a good alternative for an alcoholic product. So we are in the business of changing minds, the magic of changing minds. And there's a lot of psychology behind this that we need to take into account building our category management plan. And there are a few things here. When we push too hard and we become paternalizing, consumers will push back. You will notice also when you speak to, for instance, your children, when you push them too hard, they will do the opposite. So we need to be very careful there. People are also creatures of habits, and people are very passionate about their habits, and it's not easy to change those because many people just like it and they don't want to change those. There's also a lot of uncertainty of people around this 0.0 beer category that we would like to take away. And then also many people that are more rationally, they're working more rationally, they need some proof to be convinced that this is a good proposition. So I shared a bit of the research and the thinking we've done before. But then how we turn this into a category strategy, that's basically the $1 million question. And our main approach here is to raise awareness and overcome barriers through education and trial. And there are 3 concepts that we use to do this that I will talk you through. We, first of all, we demonstrate the role 0.0 beer can play in the life of people as an enabler for a more positive lifestyle. So what are the occasions in which people also have the options to drink a 0.0 beer? Secondly, we want to raise awareness, change the perceptions, and also expand the category further. So let's make this category cool. We also focus on overcoming the taste and the legacy issues. So remember these colorful gumballs through trial. We like to give people a chance to taste and to be convinced of the good flavor of this product. Now, then I talked a lot about occasions, and here are a few. And you see that we also use these occasions in our communication to the consumers. And let me go quickly through them. So it's before or while driving, which is, of course, we have a very, very strong program against drinking and driving. Never ever we will communicate anything that's related between alcohol and driving. It's absolutely no go. And that's why we have our 0.0 proposition where we can actually make that link. It's also during lunch. I talked about it before. It's a 100% natural product. It matches well with many different dishes. So this is another occasion that we can tackle. Also after the gym, or I think everybody now is also focusing a lot on sports. It's a very good product to drink after the gym. Even at work. Why not? Why not? Now people also drinking CSDs. They can also drink an alcohol-free beer. And we also want consumers to understand it's an option for the more straightforward beer or alcohol occasions. And you see those in the right bottoms part of the chart. So relaxing at home or at a Friday afternoon drink. I'm happy the terraces are still open. Now the weather needs to help us to get back to those afternoon drinks on the terrace, but also during a casual dinner. Then I also told you that we will implement all these things into brand plans. And because we have a very, very strong Heineken brand, we are using that brand to communicate these occasions. It requires a lot of perseverance, though. It's not something that you do from one day to the other, and it does mean also big budgets. And we believe that in this particular segment, the role modeling is very important. So that's why we have chosen the Formula One platform as the biggest vehicle to communicate our 0.0 message. So you see in the middle our famous race drivers. And you've seen, I'm sure, many videos around this. But that's not the only one. On top of that, we've also decided to become the main sponsor of the UEFA Europa League, and that to even reach more consumers, because we know that not everybody is seeing Formula One and is a Formula One lover. There's a big group that is loving football as well, and the overlap is not that big. So we have been able to reach many, many more consumers with our 0.0 message. But for us, that's not the only brand we use. We also use our local Czuk Radler brand as a carrier for the messages, and where we've used a lot of consumer prizes, making the link to activities and sports. And so far it's been very successful. So it's growing. And people do appreciate the propositions, and the category is growing as well. Then, so far it was very much about what we can do ourselves as the brand owners. Now, as I said also in the beginning, we cannot win without our customers, and we are very thankful that also our customers have embraced the ideas we have around this category and gave us the space to execute our plans in the stores. And what it's all about, it's about going big. We did it with Moretti, also on the proposition around 0.0 alcohol. We need to go big, and we developed a concept called Zero Zone. And this is a zone in the store where we are going to put, where we are putting our zero alcohol products. It's about big, as I said. We agreed to create big visibility in as many stores as possible, and you see some examples on the slides. We are driving curiosity with standout displays and also really cool fridges with different lighting. We are doing big sampling campaigns. So in a normal year, we are reaching about 500,000 consumers per year. Of course, 2020 was different with many restrictions also on sampling, but in a normal year, it's 500,000 consumers. And then as a cherry on the cake, we are also offering big prizes in our BTL campaigns. So for instance, on the 0.0 campaign, we had big holidays. We had people winning snowboards, skis with the Duke Radler campaign. And with that, we have been able to reach a lot of consumers. Then, I'm sure you've heard about the concept of the 360 approach, and you can see a few examples here, where we want to touch the consumers online, at the shelf, at other categories, and some of people that are here maybe from other categories like CSDs, they might not be happy with this. But we still want to reach the consumers and also getting into your categories. In the cold space, in grab and go areas, and something I'm really proud of that we started this year, actually last month, is also outside the stores. And you see that this big white vending machine, which is not per se vending because you don't need to pay. But we want to also tackle consumers on their literal path to purchase. So on the way to the entrance of the stores, we have implemented a big machine where people can leave their details and they get a free can of Heineken Zero. So it's all about all these touch points to make sure that you get into the consumers and the shoppers' mind. Now, it's not a Heineken show, right? It's a category with multiple players. And I'm actually very happy that also the other players in the category are now with us, growing it, because we cannot do it alone. And that's also why I put some of the pictures on this slide to show what Asahi is doing. You see they're also communicating occasions, they're working with prices. So and basically we are having different approach but similar, which I think is very good to grow the understanding of the total category with the consumers. But of course, I'm a Heineken person. I will not be a good salesman if I wouldn't finish with a nice video to sparkle a bit of your thirst. But before that, let me finish with what I think are the two key ingredients for successful category management. And the first one is to always start with the consumer in mind, always with the consumer in mind, because that's the person that's actually going to consume the product. And the second, to cooperate. If we really cooperate between brand owners and retailers, we can create amazing results. And I've seen a growing appetite amongst retailers to do that. I think all the brand owners, and not only talking about ourselves, but everybody will be very much willing to cooperate. And I'm sure we can do magic all together if that's going to take place. So I want to thank you a lot for your attention. We will have time for questions, I think, after the short video, but let me play it first and then we can see.
Oh, it's your thing. Do what you want to do. I can tell you. Oh, it's your thing. Do what you want to do now.
Thank you very much.